Hi and welcome back to my channel. So today's video will be a book haul slash what I'm currently reading. And let's start with the book haul, and these are all the physical books that I bought. I also have at least one ebook to show you. So first up is IQ 84 by Haruki Murakami, and I just love this edition. It is the vintage edition and it's in English. And yeah, I just love this one. It comes in this plastic holder sheet thing, and then there are 3 books in here, and they are just stunning if you ask me. I adore them, and they have sort of a textured cover which is super nice to touch. I've never had a book with this kind of texture before, and I was looking to read this book, and then on Ariel Bissette's channel I saw that she had bought this edition, and I thought that I absolutely have to have that. So I looked online and I could actually find it. So I bought it the same day. I think I paid 30 euros for it, and it was absolutely worth it. I've read the first book and I'm currently reading the second, and so far I'm absolutely loving this book. The next book I actually picked up at the grocery store, and it is the 5th book in the Millennium Series. This is a Swedish book series, but I picked up the French translation. And the English title for this book is The Girl Who Takes an Eye for an Eye, and it was written by David Lagercrantz in 2019. I think many of you might recognize the name Millennium Series because there were 2 Hollywood movies made based on these books, and there were also 3 Swedish movies made which were kind of popular internationally for being Swedish movies. So this series is kind of special. The first 3 books were written by Stig Larsson, and he died before the books were actually published. And then when they were such a big hit, the publisher hired David Lagercrantz, the author of this book, to write a standalone continuation of the story. So I read the first 3 original books in Swedish, and now I'm reading book number 4, 5 and 6 in French. And I think that's maybe the best way not to notice the change of author that much. The change of language makes a bigger difference. So for me, it's not been a problem changing the author of the story. So the 3rd book I bought is A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway, and I picked up this one in Antibes in the English bookstore because I wanted to read the English version since that's the original language. And I absolutely loved this cover. I think it's so beautiful. And this book was published in 1964, I believe, a few years after he actually passed away. And it's a sort of memoir about the time in the 1920s when he lived in Paris and worked as an expat journalist. And I am super excited to read this one. It's pretty short, as you can see, so I know that as soon as I start reading this, it will be over too soon, so I'm holding off starting this one. So the 4th book I also bought in Antibes, but in a French bookstore, and I know that neither the title or the cover is giving away the English version of this book, but it is actually The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And I have heard so much about this book on Booktube, so I am very excited to read this one. I have read 2 other Donna Tartt books before and I enjoy them, so I am very positive that I will enjoy this one as well. So the next 2 books are also by Haruki Murakami, and I made a mistake when I ordered these. I thought I was ordering this one, which contains his first 2 novels, and they are written as a series, so they should be read in order. But I actually ordered this one, which only contains the second book, which is a bit of a mistake, but I am glad I made a mistake because I love this cover. This one I'm not so crazy about, so in the end I decided to keep this one as well, even though I have the same book inside this one, but I just love this cover and I want to keep it. So combined in this book are Murakami's first 2 novels, Hear the Wind Sing and Pinball 1973, which he wrote while he was still owning a bar in Tokyo and then writing during his spare time. And I was very curious to see how these books are, and because I have read 2 books by Murakami and I really like them, so I wanted to see where he started and how his first works of fiction are. Last but not least is a Booktube favorite. It is the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And this is not really my type of book. It's not usually what I go for, but I saw that so many people on Booktube loved this book, so it made me really curious. And I think that that's one of the great things about Booktube, that it inspires you to read stuff that you otherwise wouldn't. And this one I bought as an ebook in the Apple Store, so I don't have a physical copy, and I decided to read it in English. So that's it for my book haul, and let's get into what I'm currently reading. So first up is 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami, and I have the edition of this book that's divided into 3 parts. I have finished the first part and now I'm almost half done with the second part, and so far I am absolutely loving it. This is my first time reading magical realism and I was a bit skeptical going into it. I got interested in this book because of the play on 1984, and I read an excerpt of the first few pages and it really got me hooked. I then did some research and I read some comments saying that this is not a good book for someone who's never read magical realism before, but I did not find that that was an issue at all. I haven't had any problems following along with the story, so I would recommend this book to anyone. I have, like I said, almost half left, but if it continues like this, then I think this will be one of my favorite books ever. The second book I'm reading is My Struggle by Norwegian author Kolove Knausgård, and this is the first part in a autobiographical novel series. I think there are 6 books, and they were published between 2010 and 2013. I'm reading the Swedish version, but the books are translated into English and many other languages if there's anyone interested in reading them, and the English title is My Struggle. I've read just over 100 pages so far, so I don't have too much to say about them yet. I am enjoying it so far, and I think I will start enjoying them as I progress. It's a lot about his childhood right now, which I don't find super interesting, but I think it's necessary for the background of the story later on when we will follow him as an adult. So I'm feeling positive so far and looking forward to reading the rest. So the third and last book I'm currently reading is The Labyrinth of the Spirits by Spanish author Carlos Ruiz Zafón, which was published in 2016. I have the French version here because I'm using it as study material to improve my French, and I underline all the words and expressions that I don't know, and then I look up the translation and I write the translation either to English or Swedish in the margins. This is of course very time consuming, so it's taking me a long time. It is a thick book as well, so my goal is to finish this by the end of the year. I can't really take this with me and read on the beach or at a cafe. I really need to sit at the computer, so I can Google words I don't know and expressions. Sometimes Google Translate isn't enough. I need to do some more digging to find the translation of a specific expression. And even though I am using this as study material, I am really enjoying the story. It's a really good book. It is a mystery of a missing person, and it is set mainly in the late 1950s in Barcelona. And the main character is using an old book to find this missing person. And I really like the characters, and I find the mystery engaging, so I am really enjoying reading this book. So that's it for today's video, and I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time, which I believe will be a weekend vlog of reading and doing other fun stuff here in the south of France.